Hey, what's up guys, Rado here with Earth & Iron. Today we are going to talk about my KTM 300 build. We're going to talk about all the work and all the mods that needs to be done to this bike. We're going to divide it into different categories based on the priorities. So stick around. But before we start, let's talk a little bit about my fancy swamp cooler. You guys saw it on my different videos, it's right there behind me. You put water in that thing, and as the water flows through the pad, air blows through it, and the water will evaporate, give the moisture to the air and cools down the air. So what you are getting from it, you are getting cold air that also has a higher humidity. And I live in very dry environment, so you are getting nice, cold, fresh and humid air coming out of that thing. It's really refreshing. This unit is from Newair company. I'll put link below in the description. You can get it on their website, and I got 20% discount for you guys. So if you are in the garage or somewhere in the bedroom or living room and you need some little extra cold air, you can get this unit, pointing on you, and it will blow nice cold air on you. It's not like an AC that will completely change your house, but this is a fairly good unit for use in the garage or bedrooms for some extra cooling. What I like about that thing is it's on the wheels. You can move it around easily, especially in the garage. I have nice concrete here, so I can move it around, no problem. It has different it has a nice remote control. It's very easy to use. You can turn it on. It has 3 different speeds for the fan, and also there is a button for timer. So if I want to have it in my bedroom, I can set it for like 2 hours. When I go to bed, it will cool down the air during the 2 hours, and it will turn off on its own. So that's pretty cool. Also, it has a swing option. I can turn it off, turn it on, so it can swing also. That will send air to different directions. Not a bad thing to have in your garage. As I said, I will put a link below in the description. It's Newair company. It's EC111, something like that. I'll put it all in the description. You guys can go and get one for yourself if you want it. Today I want to talk about Moscow. And since we're talking about Moscow, maybe we should switch to Russian. Привет, ребята! Как дела? Надеюсь, у вас все хорошо. Надеюсь, вам это видео понравится. Если что-то не нравится, сообщайте вниз в comment section. Now guys, I'm just kidding. I don't really speak Russian. Actually I do, but I'm not Russian, just for the record. So let's just keep English. Today I want to talk about Moscow, which is capital of Russia, but that's not what I want to talk about. It's also the method people use in the project development, in the product development. There are 4 major letters in Moscow. M, S, C, W. M stands for must have, S for should have, C for could have, and W for won't have at this time. So I took all the work and all the mods I could think of, and I divided them into, well, first I just wrote them down here, and then I divided them into 4 categories. Must have, should have, could have, won't have at this time. And I have this nice list that I want to share with you guys, and I want to hear what you guys think about it. Maybe I should move certain things from must have to should have, or from could have to should have. Whatever you think I should do, let me know below in the description, below in the comment. I'm really interested to hear your opinion on this. I told you before, I want to do this thing together. I don't want to be the only one making decisions. As I asked you about the skid plate in my last video, and many people is saying to clean it and use it, so that's probably what I'm gonna do. I really want to make this project something we do together. So let's look at this. I divided this thing into different categories by priorities. And honestly, if I don't have this channel, and if I do this bike for my own pleasure, I would probably only do must-haves, giving the price of everything. And if I'm not able to get parts from sponsors, which I can get now because of the channel, not everything, but I can get quite a lot of parts from the sponsors, which I'm very grateful for. If I cannot do that, I will probably only stick with the must-haves, and I will just ride back like that, because even just the first 5 mods I want to do would already do a big difference for the bike. And the looks are not so important if you just go riding somewhere in the forest, somewhere in the woods, right? But if you do this thing for the channel, and you just want to have everything, you want to have full package. So let's look at a list. Must-have. Number 1, engine. Definitely engine has to be done. I wanted to have KTM 300 for a very long time, and Eric Gore is a guru. He's an amazing guy. The work he's doing, I I hear only good stuff about him from all different sources. So for a long time I really wanted to have him build 300 engine for me, and finally now it's good time, and this KTM is getting a big bore kit, so I'm really excited. And not only that, he will do the big bore kit, and also he will do the porting and set everything to my liking, based on the what kind of riding I'm gonna do, what kind of power band I'm looking for, what kind of gas I'm gonna use. So it will be really sweet. And since he already has the engine and he's working on the top end, I decided to do whole 9 yards and do also complete bottom end rebuild. So I got brand new hot rod cranks, main bearings, all the seals and everything. So once this engine is done and Eric is done with this engine, it would be so sweet. It would be like brand new engine, and man, I can put the hundreds of hours on that thing. Maybe just switch the piston every 100 hours or every 150 hours, depends how it looks. But the bottom end, I know that it would be rock solid. So this engine is getting everything new. Bottom end, top end, seals and gaskets, bearings, everything will be new. So that's number one. That's the highest priority. The second thing, if I want to have a really good trail bike, second thing what I would do, and what I'm gonna do now, is to have professional company set my suspension to my weight, my riding skills, and the kind of riding I do. I cannot stress enough how important that is. From my personal experience, which is limited, but from my personal experience, man, if I go from one bike to the other bike, if I go from MX bike that I ride on the trails and I go on the bike that was tuned for trail riding, it's so much different. So having, you know, I can go so much faster on the trail bike when I can hit these bumps, I can fly through these bumps and rocks and roots and stuff that you can have on the trail. It's much plusher. Somebody's bothering me. It's much plusher, and it's really so much better. So definitely I would go ahead and spend the money, whatever it takes, to set the suspension, because that's what's gonna really make my riding better, faster, safer. It will be just so much better. So suspension is number 2 priority. The next thing what I'm gonna do, I will replace all the bearings on the frame. Swing arm bearing, top and bottom of your shock, and also the steering stem bearing. I want to make everything nice and smooth when you are moving your handlebars, or when your suspension is going up and down. I want to have everything nice and smooth, just like brand new. So I will have that and grease everything real nice. And of course, sprocket, front and back, and new chain. Since everything will be new, I don't want to be running a used stuff on that. And you're supposed to replace those things maybe like each season, depending how many hours you put on your bike. So definitely that's another must. And since this bike is built as a project on this channel, another must is a custom decals with all the companies that help, with all of you guys who chipped into this project, and with Third and Iron also on the side of a bike. So we'll come up with some cool design with some company that would make it look really nice, and definitely that's another must. All right, so let's move to a second level of priorities. Still important, but not as important as the first one, right? All right, so the number one thing, a powder coated frame. Again, it's just for the look, but you saw the frame in the last video. It's pretty nasty. There's paint is chipping, it's a little bit rusty on some spots, so definitely having a nice KTM orange powder coated on that frame, it will look so much better, and it will be very durable. It will just change everything. So definitely should have for this build is a KTM orange powder coated frame. New wheel set. I really want to get new wheels. Now this thing is not cheap. Getting new wheel set, it costs anywhere from 600 all the way up to a lot of money, like a couple thousand if you go with really high-end brands. But I can go with some mediocre brand or kind of entry level, 500, 600, 800, something like that. But I really want to have black rim and orange anodized hub, and put brand new tires on that thing. And for my rear, I want to go 18-inch, because I want to have this bike for enduro riding only. And most likely I'm gonna go with trial tire, which only comes in 18-inch. So I want to have 18-inch on the rear. Next thing, new plastics. These plastics on the bike, you can see in the back behind me, are not too bad, but I can use new ones. Especially, I want to change the color. I want to go to probably all white plastics, and then do my decals with the orange, white, and some different colors in there. But the background, I think I want to switch it into white, just to make it look a little bit different. It should have a kickstand. I'm thinking to get a kickstand from a Trailtech. Same thing I had on my old KTM, and it worked great, it looked great, so I want to go there. Another thing is a flange protector from a Trail Tech as well. You know, those flanges on the KTMs, they're really weak, they are breaking. Let me drink some coffee. My wife made this iced coffee for me. So I want to get the flange protector for this bike, definitely. Another thing for should have is a JD jetting. You know, I used these guys before on like 3 or 4 bikes I had before, and I really like the performance, I like the throttle response, I like their customer service as well, so definitely going for JD jetting for this build as well. And another thing that this bike should have, and it will help with vibration, it will help with how fast and how long I can ride. It's the fast company products. It's the, you know, the flex bars that flex, and also the foot packs that have these elastomers that will help you a little, you know, help you to ride for a little longer. I already tested the bars and I love it, so definitely this is going on my build as well. So that's a should have. And should have new grips, or maybe must have new grips, because the grips, they look really bad, but I have them in the should have category, but it's only like 30 bucks, no big deal. And also it should have a new nice seat cover that will kind of match all the theme of a bike, you know, all the colors and everything. So that I should have. Now let's move to a could have, a third priority for this bike. It could have a new tank. You know, this tank is in okay condition, but it looks old because it's orange, and you can't really change it much. It's not really a big tank, it's only like I think under 2 gallons or around 2 gallons. So if you go for a longer ride, you cannot really do more than maybe 30-35 miles. And since I want to upgrade the look of a bike, I was thinking to get aftermarket big tank. And there's not a lot of options because the bike is old. There may be like a couple options, and I'll probably go with IMS, because IMS tank has a nicer design. I like it more compared to a Cherpis. It's maybe a little bit smaller. It has like 3.2 gallons, something like that, which is much bigger than my stock. But also it's not too huge that it doesn't look like too big in the front. You know, I don't like when it sticks up too much. So IMS tank, it's a could have for this build. Another could have is TM Design Work products for my chain slider, chain guide. You know, these guys, they do bulletproof things, they last forever, and they look pretty good too. They are orange, so they will kind of match my KTM theme. So that's another could have. It could have a new reed cage, probably V-Force, because the one that is now there is original one from 2004, and I think it's seen better days. So if I can get a nice new reed cage, I will definitely go for it. So that's a could have. It could have a nice swing arm, triple clamps, and all the aluminum parts. So there is something called the vapor blasting or the hydroblasting that will restore original look of your aluminum parts. Will remove all the dust and all the stains and all the grease and all this buildup, you know, from the years and years of the usage. So if I get a good hydro vapor blasting company that will do that for me, I will definitely go ahead and do swing arm, triple clamp, shifter, brake pedal, and some other aluminum parts on the engine. I probably wouldn't do brakes because I think it's some particles can get into the brakes, so I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm gonna clean brakes on my own, but all these things that I mentioned before, I will definitely want to hydroblast if I can. Another could have is a Trail Tech Endurance 2 computer. You know, I don't want to get like those big ones with the GPS and everything that will, you know, check so many things. I just need the simple stuff. I want to know how many miles I made. I want to know hours on the bike, and I want to know also my probably maximum and average speed, and also have a timer so I can, you know, stopwatch or something like that. So this Endurance 2 is kind of compact, it's small, it's not that big, and it comes with all those features. And also another thing is that it doesn't use a lot of power since it's small, and it can be powered from an external battery, internal battery. Because you know, my bike is SX, doesn't really have very high output power from my stator, so I don't want to be hooking up other things to the bike. I just want to keep it the way it is. And whatever I add, like that computer, I just want to be using the battery that is already built into computer, and this unit has it. Another could have is the radiator braces. It's important, but I could probably survive without it. So you know, when you drop a bike on the side, you can damage your radiator. So it's $100, $150, $200, depends what brand you get. But if I could manage it, I would definitely get braces for radiator. Another stuff is all your anodized stuff. All the parts that make your bike look a little bit better, all the bells and whistles, is not necessity, but if I can get anodized parts, the orange on like the brake fluid reservoir and clutch fluid reservoir and some other stuff, I would definitely go ahead and do that. It will make the bike nicer. It wouldn't change anything performance wise, but I will make it look nicer. So again, if I can get it, I'll go for it. And same goes for a disc guard, front and rear. That's a higher priority than my anodized parts. That would actually, help to keep the bike kind of safe. Because if you hit a rock with your disc, it can get warped or something. So having a disc guard in the front and in the rear, that's something I could have, and I will definitely look into getting one. That completes my could haves, and now we are coming to the category that I probably won't have at this time. And I only have 3 things there. The first one is a steering stabilizer or steering damper. Since I'm not really doing a high-speed high-speed riding on the desert or on some kind of terrain that I'm in a 5th gear pin, I'm not gonna ride like that on this KTM, and I'm not gonna have a lot of head shake and stuff like that. So I think for kind of riding I'm gonna do on this bike is not necessary. And if later I feel that I need it, won't have at this time. So if later I feel like it can improve my riding, I'll definitely look into getting one. But for now, I don't really need it. Next thing, lights. As I said before, I don't want to upgrade a stator at this time, and I'm not really using light that much. Usually I ride during a daylight, so having a light at this time is not really a necessity. So won't have at this time. And next thing I won't have at this time is a pipe cage, which is not a bad thing to have. It will protect your pipe. But again, I opt not to get it at this time. I think I can manage without it for some time. Maybe in the future, who knows, I can get one. All right, my friends, so that's my list for this build, for this bike, for this build. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm talking for like 10 minutes. So if you guys think that I should switch some categories, move it from one category to another category, or add some mods or work in different categories, let me know, because as I said, I want to do this thing together. I want to hear your opinion. Let me know below in the comments. I'm really curious. And as always, don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you later.